Hello, guys. Welcome to the Voices GH podcast. And this is the first episode of the Voices GH podcast. And in today's episode, we are discussing how tribalism has been predominant in Africa, even in the 21st century. And I have here with me my panelist, Richard Kobiwole. Richard, what's up?
I'm good, my brother. How you doing, my brother?
I'm also doing good.
Not
So,
bad.
Richard is here with me. He's my panelist. He's a very experienced guy when it comes to social discussions, entertainment, and all other issues. That's why Richard is here today on the Voices GH podcast, and this is what we are doing today. So, Richard, in terms of tribalism, in terms of tribes, what do you know about tribes in Ghana?
Okay, so if you're talking about tribalism, it
Mm.
goes down to a history of the Ghana or our history,
Okay.
where we all migrated from.
Mm-hmm.
Because we all know that most of us from Ghana, even Ghana in particular, were not originally from here.
Okay.
Our grandfathers migrated from other sites and came here. So
Mm.
when they came in different tribes. I know that Kans came from Mali and some of the Ghana Dangbes and the Ghanaians came from Nigeria. So that's a story for a
Mm-hmm.
very long story for another day. But when we came, we are segregated into different parts of the country.
Right.
That's why there are those in the northern parts, the western, the central, and we are in the western over here.
Yeah.
So when you are talking about tribes, all those people from different parts are scattered around the country,
Mm-hmm.
and every tribe has what they stand for.
Okay.
That's why we have the normal one, the largest is the Akan,
Mm-hmm.
which you know the Akan, there are the Northerners, the Gans, the Ahantas, it's a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
In Ghana, I've forgotten the number though, but there's a number of tribes here. There are very many. There are many tribes in Ghana here, and
Because in Ghana we have, I think we have over 60 tribes in
over
Ghana.
60 years.
Yeah.
I've forgotten the actual numbers. I just didn't want to put out any fake
Yeah.
number out there. But yes, so if you're talking about tribalism, it is just the division of human, like
Mhm.
people in a certain place, just that there are different languages and different cultures.
What you've said is actually right, but it seems like there's a bit of discrimination among certain tribes or certain people when it comes to Africa and Ghana, you know. And the reason I'm saying Africa is because it is evident that when you go to places like Nigeria, the tribalism stares you right in the
Yeah,
face. Like, you know that,
Nigeria,
yeah, the issue is very, very deep
Nigeria
over there.
has a lot of tribes, but the most popular tribes in Nigeria
Mm-hmm.
are the three major tribes. That's the Igbo, Yoruba, and Hausa.
Yeah.
And those people come together and they have a term called Wazobia.
Okay.
So the Wa is those from the the Igbo.
Okay.
They're the ones who go with the Wa,
Mm-hmm.
and the Bia is Yoruba,
Okay.
and the Zo is those are the North.
All right.
So that's why they come together and they make Wazobia.
Okay.
So even over there is a huge number, but there are three major groups in there,
Mm-hmm.
just like in our country here, where there are lots of tribes, but the major one is the Akan.
Okay. Yeah, the major one is that can. We also have certain other tribes, but you know, recently there were issues of how even some media personalities, people who have to educate us on tribal grounds, bring us together. But it seems like the tribalism has been intertwined into in us in a way that we sometimes discriminate against certain tribes. For example, recently there was this issue of a musician and a media personality who were discriminating against certain tribe, talking about their their names, using their names as an example that they don't want. If you are coming from this tribe and you're coming to marry her, you don't have to bear
Certain
a
names.
certain name of that of that tribe. But you know, it is
I think
very,
it will be okay if we mention the name of the tribe. It's the Ewes.
yeah, it's there was, but
It's
yeah,
common.
but the issue here is that like you would think that maybe when Africans or as we get educated to a certain level, we should do away with all this division trap because we've been educated, we've been enlightened, and we know that this is not the way to go. This is not it. But it seems like even those at the top or those who have been enlightened are still have this deep issue of tribalism, this deep issue of hatred among certain other tribes in Ghana. They still have it in them, and they, you know, when we were young, we didn't actually see it until we grew up. Okay, so which tribe are you actually?
So I'm a mixture of nothing
Mm.
and Fanti. So I
Okay,
have both mixtures.
okay, me too. I'm a mixture of Guy and I can. But in any way, have you ever felt being discriminated based on
So
your tribe?
many, so many. Growing up, it was funny at a point. You see, sometimes these are the things that toughen you as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, because you go somewhere, you mention your name, and they're like, you are not those with the normal menses, and you know
Mm.
there are some names that are very common
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
everywhere you go you mention them. Oh, minia santinini,
Mm-hmm.
minia fantinini. You understand? But from where I come from, I mentioned they're like, there's not a common name.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a name that almost everybody hears over there. There are some names that are not common.
Yeah.
So if you have that name and you mention, people are like, where do you come from?
Mm-hmm.
Where's your brother? And they start asking you a lot of questions. And funny enough, let me tell you a story that happened some few months ago. So
All
I
right.
went to DVLA to register my license, and when I got there, the man over there, I mentioned my name, was like, Wooly, where are you from? I said, I'm a not now. So I'm from that same family. That's so that time I got a protocol to do my
Mm.
thing real quick because I was at a very far place. But the moment I mentioned my name, it sent me somewhere. So
Okay.
that's a beneficial part. And
Mm-hmm.
there are the negative sides where people don't want to have anything to do with you because
Yeah.
they feel excuse me to say, we are ten,
Mm.
yeah, understand? So
Yeah.
it's always that way. That there's the good and the bad part. So you
Yeah.
take it how it comes your way.
But I think just like how racism is in
Yeah, that's
America,
our part of racism.
yeah, the same way we have the tribalism in Africa, but in a very good way. Sometimes I don't know.
No,
Okay,
but I think sometimes it's the stories that we were told growing up,
mm-hmm.
and that's what has caused what we are going through at the moment. Because you see, growing up, they tell us, and kofa tafoni fiom krom, and beye
Mm,
nkwa wo asantimemu, and we say and fantifo mpono. Do you understand what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
there are lots of stories that we were told that, in actual sense, I feel in primary school should have just been covered.
Okay,
The
but
things I've been told.
yeah, but sometimes it's not basically about the stories you've been told. Sometimes too, it happens like we experience it ourselves. Because, for example,
No, I'm saying because of what we
yeah,
get to
yeah,
hear,
what we get
we
to
turn
hear,
out to act that way too. You
yeah,
see, when
but
we are growing up, when we're growing up, they told us,
mm,
Asante for Antibrofi.
mm,
They tell us to Asante for. So if you hear an Asante speaking English, it sounds funny in your ears,
mm-hmm.
even though the person is right.
Okay,
You feel like, this guy is like the air and the eye and the problem. You understand?
mm,
So you are just teasing them. But in actual sense, the person might be speaking the right English, but
mm,
because in your mind, growing up, you've been told,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh,
What you're saying is you are very right. Okay, for example, I didn't have it at the back of my mind that there is like tribalism actually real until I experienced it myself. Even though I've been hearing stories, because sometimes you go to a certain place, you'll be in a certain type of people, in a certain type of group of people, and these people, the way they will act, okay, the way they will do their things, they will make you feel like you are not even
you're
part
not
of
part
them.
of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes it's not mainly about what we have been told, it's about how we also experience it
And
because
I'm saying what you've been told is what you've grown up with. And
okay.
you understand. Like I'm saying, I've given several, even guns. They say
Mm-hmm.
people can't say H.
Mm,
You don't know how to, they say you don't know. So in the at the back of your mind, you have it that a gun can't say H. The person will say
mm,
H. So you understand what I mean? So it's that mentality we grew up with. That's why
mm,
there are some people who feel like, hey, yeah, this year we are from this, we are that.
mm-hmm.
But in actual sense, in modern day world, we are almost on the same level.
Yeah, of course.
We are the same level, just that tribalism growing up. I'm just giving examples of what
Mm,
they say about other tribes. They say, hey, Ukowara Igbeni, hey, Igbeni, Efo, or we cats, they chew cats,
mm,
they do this. You understand? All these things, it's not like they are stories that I brought up myself. But growing up, these are the things they've told us. So the main issue is how to cut it off from childhood.
okay.
Because even when they mention an eczema, you are scared away your medru. But
Mm,
maybe the eczema self, he sleeps without protection.
he
You
doesn't even know
understand?
what's up. How is tribalism hindering progress in modern day Africa or Ghana? That's
Yes.
also the question
So
I asked.
what I was saying is progress, a hiding progress one is even look at let me take it for marriages.
Mm-hmm.
You know there is still that mentality that a fancy can't marry
Mm-hmm.
an ever.
Yeah.
Some even get to even laugh at their names.
Mm-hmm.
But if they maybe one of my mrs. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
It is because of this same train and it's affecting someone's life because maybe
Yeah.
that's the person's life partner God gave him or her, but because of tribalism, it stops that. And now let's come down to even development itself. as
Mm-hmm.
like natural development you see.
Yeah.
There are some areas you feel like, oh, this thing can be sent to this region,
Mm-hmm.
but because ABR, the head of state is not from that part,
Mm-hmm.
they cut it short. Because some time back recently, the president of the country went to the Ewe land and said they don't vote for him, so he wouldn't even
But
to do something
taking
there.
developments
That
over
sounds
there.
very tribalistic.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? It's not about the vote, oh, but because they are saying, oh, those over there, they don't vote for that side.
Mm-hmm.
So it
Yeah.
sounds tribalistic. You understand?
Yeah.
So, but we fail to notice all these things. It's all part of tribalism. So growing up, if the plan is to not tell them the stories about this and that, and
Mm-hmm.
we are all equal, we pass this. This wouldn't be something, even it wouldn't be something we talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I first saw the example you made with the Celestine issue,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, we are becoming too sensitive as people to modern day. We are becoming too sensitive because some years back these things would have been normal. But now when you mention it, it's more sensitive and they feel like you're talking against their tribe.
I think talking of being sensitive, I think this is like sensitivity is the new trend now. Like
Yes, everything is so sensitive.
people are so sensitive against everything. Even comedians cannot even be comedians again
You
because whatever they say.
understand?
But I think it is the advent of social media has also contributed to this sensitivity issue because they feel that they have a voice. Now, like social media has given them the voice. So in case there is any issue, I don't know whether it is a group of people, they or people with the same mentality, or it's a group of people or
No,
something. In case,
all this while they've been there,
uh-huh,
they just didn't have the mode to communicate it.
mm-hmm,
You understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like probably we are here, something happens in the news that oh, where is saying they start laughing. You know, before when you used to listen to radio,
mm,
those olden days, yes, yeah, you know those funny things.
yeah,
Probably might even be a joke.
yeah,
Back then, I'm sure over there they were not taking it as a joke.
no, yeah,
But just because they didn't have the medium to communicate their
communicate
pain,
it,
we didn't know. But
yeah,
now there's a medium to communicate their pain.
mm-hmm,
That's what they are going to. But I'm saying we should just be, sometimes we should overlook some things.
mm-hmm.
It's not always about, hey, they're talking against my tribe. Hey,
No,
listen, it says,
yeah, yeah. Sometimes but sometimes the more you overlook things, the more it gets, it gets worse
but it has been
because
there all this
yeah,
while.
it has been done all this while. That is why it has brought us to where we are today. Because if it has been there all this while and they've been saying it and people have been looking on and doing nothing, that is how it has brought the discrimination.
I get it. I
Yeah,
get it.
that is
I
how it
get
has
your
brought the discrimination.
point.
So now they want to cut all those things off. So in case you just say anything, they just come out
I
after.
understand that they are doing their own, but sometimes too, take a chill. This life, don't take it too serious. Yeah, sometimes take a chill pill because
Uh-huh.
it's a joke. You do the same about people's tribe, but probably because they don't understand your language.
Mm-hmm.
What for would you?
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You might do it against someone's tribe, but just because the person doesn't understand the language.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a car some time back, and then from here to Accra, and there were some two women in the car, and they were speaking Hausa, but they didn't know I understand the language,
Yeah.
so they were actually insulting me.
Mm,
So I didn't say anything. But when we got to Cape Coast, wanted to pee and all of those things. That's one thing I responded to them in the language. They
mm,
were shocked. So in a normal day, they might have said it and I didn't know, and I just saw them, I might smile, hey, hello.
mm,
But deep down they said a lot of bad things about me.
mm.
So it brings us to the conversation of, because we don't understand their language, there are things they say about us that we don't know.
So the tribalism topic is actually very broad, and we can't actually take up the whole issue of tribalism because when we are talking of tribalism, people discriminate based on tribal grounds in so many ways.
Mhm.
There are so many ways that people actually do it, which we can't actually go deeper to look at all those ways. But how do we manage this tribalism issue in Ghana? Do you know certain ways that we can manage tribalism
I
issues in
think
Ghana?
we can be using the tools we have available,
Okay,
the medium like football.
okay,
How you know how these whites are able to use fighting racism
mm-hmm.
very well in terms of football and even in other firms, and looking at places like even Parliament, the President's House, there should be a top of mind awareness thing over there where wherever you pass you see symbols, say no to tribalism. celebrities in this country or influencers or even movie directors are able to incorporate them in their movies, say no to tribalism. Because even this day and age, you see movies that some of the storyline talks more about tribalism, as in like praising one side and making the other tribe look very bad. So like they are all things. NCA should be running more TV commercials on this. I can't remember the last time I saw NCA do
You know, talking
those
of
campaigns.
these movies, talking of this
NCA, is it
football,
NCA or NCA?
it says NCA. So talking of these movies and all these things that you are talking about, you know, the whites are doing it in terms of football, say no to racism, but still racism is
No, but
predominant in
in the
Europe.
part.
Even if they are playing football, even if the football that they are doing the campaign right there, the football field that they are doing the say no to racism campaign, they will be discriminating against some of the players who they think are not worth to play on the field. Mostly they discriminate against the black
No,
players.
but you see,
So do you think that if we bring all these means to Ghana or to Africa, Africans we start to use, do you think this will help us in any way too? Because for me, I don't see how it is working over there. But when we
it
bring
is
it, do you
working
think
very
it
well
will,
over
it
there.
will work? Okay.
As compared to probably the early 90s, and
Mm-hmm.
now it has changed.
Okay.
It is because it's a top of the mind awareness issue. And whenever someone takes it upon themselves to be racist, they are spoken like people speak against them.
Okay.
You understand what I mean? There might be a portion that is against them. So when they start these things, I know definitely there will be the stubborn nuts who would find it very hard to change, but the percentage
Mm-hmm.
will be cut off. You understand what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah, that's nice. But also, don't you think that it is basically due to the level of educated people in the country? Yeah, even though we know that people who are educated, who are enlightened,
Are still doing the same
are
thing.
still doing the same thing, but you know, but some way somehow, sometimes they are very sensitive to it and they mind their speech, they mind their, you know, some things they will say, or let me say that they have boundaries on what to say because of this. Sometimes they have it at the back of their head. But what about this uneducated individuals? You know, looking at the percentage we have in the country, we know that
But
a
that's why
majority
that's
a majority of the people are very uneducated and they are not sensitive to this issue. They say it aloud
like
whatever they
I
get.
understand you very well.
Uh,
That's what I'm saying. The means of telling them is important.
mhm,
The movies better use as an example.
yeah.
That there, even the Kumawood movies they watch a lot,
Mhm.
it might be incorporated in it,
Okay.
so they would understand that the man the onye side way ni some ye wo yesa wo
Mm.
how no. You understand?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
need to understand. I know, like I'm saying, it wouldn't reach almost everybody, but
Mhm.
the percentage that I will get to and who are deep thinkers would understand that what they are doing is not right and would
Mhm.
have to change. So I'm saying there are means of telling people something or
Mm.
telling out your story. So if you're able to use some means like this, then you are good to go.
And you think maybe okay, but the issue so this issue is just about managing, but not actually stopping it.
You know, for stopping it there it would be a tough thing. That one, let nobody lie you that you
Mm-hmm.
can stop tribalism or probably racism at large.
Mm-hmm.
It can never stop because it is something that's part of the human culture,
Mm-hmm.
and we are all not the same. I say this that not every human being is sensible as you are.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who their level of understanding is very low. So you just need to try and get them close and educate them, let them understand. If they are willing to change, they will change.
Okay, so talking of the human culture or something, but do you think that the tribalism issue was actually not mainly maybe it's our fault though, but not really our fault as in um the whites, the colonial masters actually segregating Africa in a way that it brings two different tribes together, maybe in a country. For example, Nigeria was not Nigeria. It's the whites
Give it the name
who
Nigeria.
coined and made the
Give them the map.
boundaries and did everything. These people are Nigerians. They are one people. And in a way, don't you think this is one of the major reasons that tribalism is very predominant in Africa? Like us, like people who are not, who are like
No, but
bringing different
before
people together to force them to be one people.
but you know before the whites came in,
Mm-hmm.
you know they still had tribes. They were like, this tribe we are fighting because there is this mango tree here. This
Mm-hmm.
one came to pluck, so they are not our friends, they are our enemies.
Mm-hmm.
That was tribalism at that point.
Okay.
Before the whites came, so we have been tribalists to ourselves before our grandparents came in.
Mm,
The tribalism has been there since.
mm-hmm,
We are always against each other before the people came, but as we grow, people are getting enlightened.
mm-hmm,
So as they are getting enlightened, I expect to see change, and we all expect to see change. And that's one thing that we are seeing. See, I'm not sure how people were treating some tribes some 30 years.
mm-hmm.
They are acting that way now. Like, even if it was probably 100 people, 60% are enlightened now about how those things go. So the 40% would also need more pushing to understand.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
All right, guys. So there you have it. Today we had a very short conversation on tribalism and other issues, in Ghana, in Africa, and how things are actually going. So I hope you really enjoyed today's discussion with me, Neo Kai, and Richard Kubiwoli. And see you next time on our next episode on Voices GH. Don't
Peace.
don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like the videos as well and share it.